Hey guys, before we start this episode, I wanted to talk to you about Type 1 lifting. So, Type 1 lifting is a clothing line that proceeds of the shirts and tanks and everything else goes to the Children's Diabetes Foundation. So, this all came about with me and seeing a 5-year-old girl in the emergency department that had new onset of diabetes. So, just take a look at the website. It's www.type1lifting.com. So just check it out. If you don't buy anything, that's perfectly fine. I would just like for you just to take a look and just see what we have. So, like I said before, www.type1lifting.com. And guys, I hope you enjoy the show. Hey guys, we have a new sponsor for the Type 1 Lifting podcast. The company's called Liberté Lifestyle. So Liberté is a French word meaning freedom, and the company was founded on the desire to have freedom to choose what we want to do with our lives. I actually had the owner, Nicole, on my podcast on episode 28, so if you want to go back and listen to her, she talks about how she started the company and what she wants to do in the future with the company, which is pretty cool. So they actually have knee sleeves, wrist wraps, shirts, shorts. Love the knee sleeves. I have the ice cream knee sleeves, and I love them so much. The neoprene's still good. The seams haven't split compared to other knee sleeves that I've had in the past, and I'm planning to keep these for a very, very long time. So Nicole actually gave me a promo code for you guys too. So it's all capital letters, TYPE, and the number 1. So it's Type 1. So go to libertelifestyle.com, check out what they have in the store, use the promo code Type 1, and save some coin. Now let's go to the episode. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. I have fellow Misfit Athletic and CrossFit athlete Austin Spencer. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not bad. Well, thank you for doing this. And my first question is, how the hell do you find pants that fit you? Because those quads are absolutely ginormous. I have trouble finding pants, and I can't imagine your struggles that you have.
Yeah. There's been a lot of busted crotches in my pants in the past. I have one pair of jeans that fit me, and they're really stretchy. And I've gone the amount of work pants I've had to go through to find the right kind it's pretty ridiculous. The pile I have is large.
Yeah.
But luckily, Duluth Trading has some really good pants for the type of work that I do. I can do a full squat and not bust out. So. It just takes patience and a little bit of research.
Yeah, and I know you have a wedding coming up too with Caroline. So congratulations, by the way, with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
When's the date for that?
May 21st, next 2022.
Okay, very cool. Yeah.
Little less than a year now.
Yeah, I was talking to her about you in our podcast, and she was like, "I don't even know how he's going to fit in those tuxedo pants. He might have to get them custom made."
Oh, probably. I mean, I've been in a couple weddings, and I had to get the pants tailored. I would get I have a size 29 or 30 waist or something, and I had to buy a size 35 waist just so the pant leg would be big enough, and then get them taken in really far. So that's probably where we're going to have to go for the tuxedo.
Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. So have you guys done started a venue or anything like that, or figured anything out?
Yeah, we have a lot of details figured out. We knew pretty early that we were going to get married at my mom's house.
Mm-hmm.
So she's pretty local. We live in Portland, Maine, and I grew up. She lives in North Yarmouth, which is only 25 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got a huge yard. So figured we'd, save some money and get married there. It's a perfect location. So I think it'll be good. So we had that figured out pretty quick. And then, we had some friends that do catering, and we were thinking about doing a brunch theme, and they run a brunch joint. So
very cool.
It all kind of worked out. So yeah, we have a lot figured out, which is good because everything's kind of on pause now with games prep in full swing. So
yeah. So have you guys figured out a number of people you're going to have there? Is it very low or a big group?
I would say it's like a medium size maybe. We made a list, like a general list. And I think there's, I don't know, about 100 or so people, most of which are from our gym. We both have relatively small families, so yeah, it's going to be a lot of like exercise enthusiasts dancing on the dance floor there.
Yeah, drinking a lot of alcohol too, because this is probably
yes, for sure.
They're like their one day
oh,
to
yeah.
actually drink alcohol.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we're training for this wedding.
Yeah, very cool. My wedding was, we only had 55 people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was on. So I used to live up in Windham, New Hampshire, and we lived on the lake, and so like our wedding was on the lake where we lived at, and actually,
oh, that's awesome.
Our wedding picture, I held my wife up, and you could see my neighbor's house from like in the back of the in the background. So it was pretty cool, like saying like we got married at our lake.
Yeah, that's great. I wanted to keep it, relatively small, but there's just so many people that we couldn't like not invite. So.
Yeah. I mean,
the list kept growing.
Yeah, I had the hard time of like, we had a hard time of just like cutting people, because I have like 13 aunts and uncles on my mom's side and then 10 on my dad's side, and it's just like,
yeah,
those type of weddings, and they're all from like Long Island and New York, and they're just like, they bring everybody, and it's just absolutely insane. And my wife's like, yeah, we can't bring everyone in there, it'd be too much. So like,
yeah,
it was like cutthroat, like literally cutting everybody out to like 55 people. So.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of the benefit of like, I know a few people that got married during COVID. So like they had to cut down the amount of people they could invite. Mm-hmm. So it was like kind of a good excuse in a way. Like, sorry, like COVID, we can't have as many people. So, but it worked out for them.
Yeah.
Small weddings are good.
Yeah, they're fine. So we had a blast. So it's all that matters, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. It's going to be a big ass party.
Yeah, just wait till like the next day. Everyone's going to ask you, so when are you guys having kids? It's like immediately.
People already do.
Yeah, it's immediately after they ask that. They're like, "Oh, you got married, so when are you having kids?" And I'm just like, Jesus, like I just got married like 24 hours ago. So
I'd like to enjoy that for a little bit, and then we can think about that later.
Yeah, and I got married like later on, I got married at 33. So obviously you're 29, right?
28. Yep.
Yeah. So you'd be 29. Yeah. So that's you got a lot of time, more than me. So.
Yeah. I'm not in any big rush. Just trying to enjoy, every bit as it comes, and when it happens, it happens.
Yeah. Very cool. So let's get into the reason why I got you on here. So, so you've been a Misfit Athletics, athlete for quite a while. So what made you get into CrossFit in general?
So I was in college trying to figure out, what I was going to do with life and everything, and kept changing majors and all that kind of stuff, kept changing sports because I was getting cut from all the teams. And like I was a good athlete in high school, but I like to tell people like I was really athletic. I just wasn't very skilled. So you have to have both, obviously, to be a good collegiate athlete. And so I got cut from the soccer team. I got cut from the lacrosse team. And then our school started a rugby team. And I was like, all right, I'll try that. Turns out I was pretty good at rugby, picked it up pretty quick. So I started playing that. And then my roommate, he was like watching, YouTube videos of something and told me to watch it with him. And it was like Rich Froning and Dan Bailey working out in the CrossFit Games or something. Mm-hmm. And I was like watching, and I was like, man, I think I could be good at that too. And it looked awesome, like so much fun. They were in so much pain doing whatever they were doing, but it was like so cool. So my friend who showed it to me, he's actually like from my hometown. Like we grew up together and went to the same college together. So we found like a gym, like we looked up gyms from home, and we chose Misfit Athletics, which is CrossFit MS, is our home gym. We chose it because their color was purple, and we thought that was badass, and the name was kind of cool. So we did like our beginners class in like, I think it was December 2012 or something, and then we went back to school, just kind of dabbled in CrossFit, and slowly got obsessed with it. So yeah. Yeah, so that was the story. That's it.
So were you like you and your buddy, like the type of kids that were in like this corner, like trying to do like cleans or like use dumbbells and work out and stuff like that, and everyone's like, what the hell's wrong with you guys?
Yeah, like we had our school gym, and like, it was just your normal gym. It was pretty nice, but there was no like real space for like CrossFit type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It had like Olympic platforms and stuff like that. So we did have some good weights and barbells. And I remember like when I learned what Grace was, like 30 clean and jerks per time, I think I did that workout like at least twice a week for 2 months. It was the only one I knew how to do. But it also took me like 8 minutes to do because I would do like a power clean and strict press like over and over, just slow.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really know I was supposed to go fast. So, but yeah, we were doing double unders like in the middle of the floor where people were trying to walk by, and like we'd find places to do handstands and just like mess around. So it was fun. It was a good time.
Very cool. So in your early stages of CrossFit, did you try the 300 workout?
Which one was that?
So it's the guys that from the movie 300, they had their own workout. It was like a CrossFit workout. It was like, I think like 50 pull-ups, 50 push-ups, like 50 like windshield wipers, 50 box jumps, and like there was something else to it too, and you had to get it done as fast as possible.
Yeah, no, I never heard of that one. In my beginners class, we did like Cindy, Fran, and Fight Gone Bad. Like those are really gross workouts we did early on.
Yeah. Gross. But yeah, you gotta try that after like the off season. Just like it's a good like I think it's a good like bodybuilding style workout. So because you're doing like it's like almost hypertrophy because you're doing 50 reps of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
and you're not like breaking it, like splitting it all up and stuff. So
it's not like Murph or anything like that. You have to go straight through. And the windshield wipers, for me, when I was at the time doing it, it would like wipe me out because you're taking one leg, and you have the barbell like over your head on the floor, and you're just kicking your feet up to like touch the weights that you have on there, and it has to.
That'll probably be the hardest part for me.
Yeah, it has to be like 135 on there. So, and it was like,
oh my God,
that was the hardest part.
Yeah.
But, so what made you stick with Misfits for so long?
I don't know. Like, so the Portland or Maine in general doesn't and hasn't ever really had much of a competitive scene compared to a lot of other states. And Misfit was like pretty quickly like coined like the competitive gym in Maine. And like when I found CrossFit, I knew I wanted to be a competitor. I didn't join CrossFit for like the health aspects of it, which are obviously really good, but like sports were my thing. Like if I wasn't going to play soccer, play lacrosse, or even play rugby anymore, like what am I going to do to like feed this like competitive drive I have? So, Misfit was the place to be. Like if they're spitting out competitors going to like these regionals and stuff, then I got to be there trying to do that too. And it proved to be like I kind of got in at a good time too, because I think the blog started like the year that I started CrossFit, or at least that's when they started putting out their online programming.
Mm-hmm.
So they were kind of getting into like training athletes to be competitive in the sport. So I got to be kind of like, a guinea pig and like kind of jumping in and training with them. And like, Hunter and Sherb, who you see on the podcast and stuff all the time, they were competitors when I started. So I was just trying to chase them, and Gabe, who's like also another coach of ours. And they just like we kept battling back and forth, and I got obsessed, and I couldn't imagine going anywhere else. Like, I've thought about it, like, cause you see people jump, programs all the time. And, part of me is like, oh, I've only ever been with Misfit. Like, it'd be cool to try something else. But at the same time, like, I've had so much fun and I've gained so much, like, in the 8 or so years that I've been doing this. Like, why change? We're growing the whole time. It's not like we've been the same. We've been getting better at everything we do. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a good journey.
Yeah, very cool. So when did you notice like you started getting like really good at this and you could make this like into like a full-time gig?
I don't know. Like I said, like from the beginning, I wanted to be good at it. So I was just chasing like the guys that had already made regionals. And there were certain things that I could like beat them in. Like if there was like running or like good, like explosive, like kind of body weight movements. I was pretty good at that right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
and it took a while for me to get, like, I wasn't the strongest athlete, like, especially with squatting and pressing. So that took me a long time to catch up to people. But I think, like, it took me probably three years of training. And, like, I think I did the open twice where I started to see my progress, and I was starting to beat, like, my training partners a little bit more. And I was creeping up the leaderboard in the open. And I got pretty close in, like, 2015 or something. And then I was like, well, I got to go all in. So I mean, I was already all in, but mentally I was like, I can get there. Like, I know I can. So, like, regionals was the big goal. And then 2016 I qualified, and that was the worst open of my life. It was terrible trying to qualify. I was like the last one in or something. And, like, I did it, and it just, like, solidified, like, all this work paid off, and I'm just going to keep trying to go up the ranks from there.
Very cool. Now, since you started Misfit, like, earlier on, obviously they were doing training videos since, like, I don't know, like 2014 or whatnot, and they had you in a couple of them, I believe. So what was your feelings? Were you nervous, like, getting recorded and doing these workouts, or, like, just showing people, like, the movements?
When there was, like, movement, like, when they were trying to do videos on how to do certain movements and stuff, that was nerve-wracking because I was, like, young and wasn't actually sure if I was doing it right. Drew just said that I looked good doing it, so I was like, go and do, like, muscle ups or something, like, I was pretty good at, like, early on. And like, that stuff I was, like, a little nervous and, like, probably very awkward in those videos. But with the training videos, like, those are just fun. Like, having Ted around, who's, like, our media guy, like, he just makes it fun. He, like, sticks the camera right in your face and, like, doesn't care. And it's just like you're slobbering all over the floor, but, like, I don't know. It was like putting on a show in a way. So it was pretty fun.
Very cool. Very cool. So, obviously, like, you're really ramping up and everything like that. You're starting to get, like, really good. And then, what's the training like since, like, coming up to, like, this level? Like, was it more like during the off season, more like weight gaining, more strength building, and then kind of, like, teetering off, or, like, what was the, the whole, route from you to getting where you are now?
My training, like, style has changed a lot since I started. The first, like, I would say, like, 4 or 5 years was just, like, do everything, get better at everything. Like, obviously I needed to get stronger. That was probably my biggest weakness, was just raw strength. So there was a lot of focus on, like, squat cycles and stuff like that. But I was getting stronger and I was getting fitter, and I was just, like, essentially beating my head against the wall every single day, doing as much volume as I could. And I was young, so I was, like, recovering and, eating whatever I wanted, and it was all good, and I was getting better. And then I had to, like, I could never really be full time in like, on how I saw it, just because I had to work.
Yeah.
Money was always kind of like a thing. Like, I needed the money. I had student loans and all this kind of stuff. So I was, like, always like, oh, I want to train, but I got to go to work, or whatever job I had at the time. And so trying to train around that was getting stressful. And then, just that was always kind of the balance, was trying to find out what can I do to, like, make a living, because I'm not good enough yet at CrossFit to make a living doing that. So it was, like, trying to find that balance. And it changed. And so work basically changed how I train. And so I think that evolved to, like, double sessions before and after work, and trying to find out, like, what kind of volume works best for me. And as I get older, it keeps changing. So I think even this coming year, things will probably change a little bit, but I'm starting to figure it out more and more as I go.
Yeah. So do you train in the morning time, then go to work, then have, like, another session in the afternoon, or?
Yeah. So now, what seems to be working best is, like, I get up really early, probably around 4:15 in the morning, and I head to the gym. So I have to be at work at, like, 7:30, and luckily our shop is right next to the gym. It's like a 3-minute drive. So,
nice.
I get to the gym at, like, 4:45 or 5, and warm up, and I'll do 1 or 2 pieces depending on what they are and how much like warm up time they need. And then I'll go to work and come back and do whatever else I have the energy and focus to do. And that, that can change. Work for me can be pretty physically demanding and also very mentally exhausting. So, it really depends on what the day looks like. And that'll shape my afternoon sessions.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of like me too. I get up at like 4:20 and then go to the gym
Yeah.
and then just like train. Cause that's, to be honest with you, like that's the only time I can do it. Cause like I can't, train in the afternoon. Like I have a 9 to 5 job and I can't do it at
Yep.
night because, I have family time and podcasting and like mainly family time and putting the kids to bed. So it's like I can't, so that's like the only time I can do it. So
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, once you get used to it too, it's like really, it's not that bad. Once you're up, you're up. So
yeah.
you get that out of your mind and like, it's just another training session. So,
So do you take a little pre-workout before you work out in the morning time, or do you get that little like the tingles?
not usually. Occasionally I will. Like, I'll take a little bit of beta alanine, which gives you those tingles sometimes. But I'm really just a caffeine addict, so I'll drink some coffee and I'll take some pre-workout that just has caffeine in it. It doesn't really make me jittery or anything, but it tastes really good, so I take that.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm the same way too. Like I'm addicted to caffeine, like energy drinks, like pre-workout, and I'm like, I gotta chill out in the energy drinks, but like just it's like so much better than coffee for me.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be totally addicted to energy drinks. Like Monster Energy was bad in high school, but it's like I have to have some coffee in the morning, and then I'm usually sipping on that and pre-workout while I'm getting through my first session.
Okay.
So getting a good like double dose of caffeine there.
Yeah, very cool. So, with Misfit Athletics, you have like, CrossFit Games athletes like China Cho's been there, Travis Williams, Jordan Cook, like pretty much all those guys, and like more other people, Kenzie Riley. Like, what have you learned from, training with them, or have you ever trained with them and talk about their experience at all?
Yeah, I've trained with all of them. I mean, I've known them for, a very long time. I think, probably Jordan the longest. And then, I met Travis soon after that because they were good friends before. And then like China and Kenzie came along, and training with them was super cool. I mean, they would come up and visit, or we'd go to camps and we'd get to train together a little bit. And, you learn something different from all of them. Like Travis obviously has this just like, he just likes to hurt. So he'll send it no matter what, like no strategy, just like, go hard, blow up and survive the workout. And there are some workouts where you need to do that. And then there's people like Kenzie and China who will break things up from the start very strategically. And they look like they're moving slow and resting a lot, but then they beat you by 5 minutes, so I learn a lot from all of them, and it's definitely helped me in my own training and competing. And plus they're super cool people. So it's fun to have them around and training with them, or at least comparing scores when we're not close and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what was the best advice you've gotten from like one of those athletes?
I don't know that they ever like gave me specific advice. I mean, they never, I feel like those guys like never saw me as like somebody they had to teach, so like we would just train, like, and I would just like pick up on things. And so it was mostly like after the fact, like talking with Drew or like Caroline or Sherb or something about like what they did differently than me and stuff like that. And a lot of them, like I've been trying to, like, I guess, for example, like Roy Gamboa is like a really good person to learn from in terms of like competing. Like he's somebody who like competing with him at Granite Games was crazy. Like I would always start out ahead of him in all the workouts, and he would just zoom past me later on. And you see him breaking up things early, and he's just super confident with his own fitness level that he's okay with like with starting out a little bit slower, knowing that he can have time to finish strong and pass people at the end. So if you don't have that confidence, or experience to do stuff like that, like you're going to do what I did and start out a little too fast and just try to hold on at the end. So, learning something like that from him was really good. I wish I knew it before Granite Games, but at least I know it now. So yeah, I just, for me, it's like just picking up stuff from people. Drew and those guys are usually the ones kind of like giving me some advice, but the other athletes, we train and we beat each other up and learn from that. So
very cool. Very cool. So what makes the coaches at Misfit like good coaches for you?
It's really just like the communication we all have. Like we've known each other for so long now that it's like we're just a big family. Like we spend so much time together that like I know what they're thinking for the most part. So they don't even really have to say much anymore. Like I just like know what they want from me.
Yeah.
But like they all have their roles. Like, Drew is the mindset guy. Like he's gonna be able to hype you up. He's gonna tell you what you need to hear to get you ready for an event or to get you ready for the next day or just, keep you going through training. And then like, Sherb is just there to hype you up by yelling at you or something. Like he's just loud and big and just likes to, get you fired up. And then, so everyone has their role, but it's just like, it just works. I don't know. I think it's because everyone is so different, but when we all come together, it's the best community I could ask for.
Very cool. Very cool. So you were at the Granite Games. Oh, actually, before I even start that, so how you talk about mindset. So how did you get your mindset like better from when you first started? Like, was Drew like a big help in that, or did you go off to somebody else and kind of get advice or help from that?
No, I mean the help I got was pretty much from within the Misfit community. So I think Gabe, who still works with us kind of remotely, he and Drew were probably the two biggest coaches I've had when working with my mindset. Like I always had like, a good motor and like a good like competitive drive and stuff like that. But when it came to like certain workouts, like I wouldn't have that killer instinct sometimes. And I would hold back just because I don't know if I was afraid of the pain or whatever, like, these elite athletes need to have to be successful. And so, those two have been working with me for a very long time to try to improve that. And I think some of it is like, a lot of it is what they've, helped me with. Like Drew has given me books to read and stuff like that to try to work on stuff like that. And, but a lot of it just came with experience. Like the more CrossFit you do, the more, you get fitter and the more just experiences you get, you learn from those and you don't need to like be afraid or whatever it is to send it in a workout or, fight because, you can do it because you have done it. And so a lot of that has come from just the experience and just talking back and forth constantly with them about it.
Awesome. Very cool. So now you made it to the Granite Games. So was that your first choice for one of those regionals, like, or sectionals, whatever they called it? Was that your first choice?
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that was first choice.
So what did you... Okay.
I was just gonna say I've competed there a few times, so it was pretty fun to go back.
So what was your thoughts on pushing all the competition back in the afternoon because it was so damn hot over there?
I mean the heat was tough. It was definitely not ideal to have to train like to do those workouts like right under the sun on the turf. So I wasn't upset about it at all. I was a little worried about how late we were gonna do those workouts just because, I'm usually in bed by 8 p.m. So having to start a workout at like 10 p.m. is insane to me. But when it came down to it, like it was still pretty light out at 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel tired at all. I was like ready to go. So honestly, I don't think that affected me negatively whatsoever. Except for maybe just the jitters I got from like 2.5 days being in Minnesota, just waiting for this thing to start.
Yeah. So what was your favorite event during the Granite Games?
I think it's easy to say that the sled push event was my favorite because I did the best in that one. But I think my favorite event was the handstand push-up. It was the like 50-foot handstand walk, 40 cal ski, 30 strict or 30 deficit handstand push-ups, and then you go back through. I think that was my favorite just because it was a good combination of like sprinting, skill, and like capacity. And my handstand push-up capacity in the past has been a big weakness of mine. So I've worked a lot on that. And so whenever I get a good opportunity to test my progress through that, I'm always excited to do so. And, I also went into the weekend with like a shoulder tweak. Like I hadn't been able to work on that in like the month prior to. So being able to go out there, and I think I took like 13th place on that workout, which for me, I was really happy with. Like usually I'm probably like bottom third in a workout with, deficit handstand push-ups. So, that was probably my favorite just because of how rewarding it was.
Yeah. So my favorite thing that I saw from you was the snatch, the one rep max snatch. That's when like you missed it the second round, and I'm like, oh boy. And then you went up more weight and you hit it, and I was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So is that your PR, by the way?
But yeah, it was a PR tie, 285.
Dang, that's insane.
Yeah, that was very stressful.
Yeah, and like it was like I think you and Roy were right next to each other, right?
Yeah. We were next to each other for the whole first day, and then I think we were next to each other in at least one other workout after that. But it was pretty cool. And I started with 275 on the bar, and he had 280 on the bar, and I was like, this guy, he's such a freaking competitor. Like I know it's gonna be a tough weekend, and he power snatched it.
Yeah.
And I missed mine.
Yeah, well, he starfished it. Like he literally, like I think his feet almost hit like the rubber matting. That's how like
I know. I couldn't even. I obviously didn't see it because I was focused on my lift. Yeah. But everyone was telling me how like sketchy that was, and the guy was already like his knee was already bothering him. So I'm sure that didn't feel good.
Yeah, it was. I saw that starfish and I was like, oh my gosh, how did he even get that? Especially with his legs like split so wide. I was like, this is insane. So on that last lift that you did on the snatch, like what was going through your head? Being like, listen, I need to hit this, or what was going on?
I think that was a good representation of like the mental fortitude that I've been trying to work on. So in the warm up area, we were using different barbells that didn't spin quite as well as those ones. And the ground that we were on was slanted. So depending on which way you were facing, you were either snatching really forward or snatching like sitting way back if you were uphill. And so when we got out on the floor, it was level. The barbells were like Olympic barbells. They spun like crazy, which feels very different. So, after waiting 20 minutes in the corral and going out to snatch, like the first one just felt like a ton of bricks off the floor and just weird. It didn't feel right at all. And then I rushed. I tried to get another one in that same window, didn't get it. And then just like, I think I started doing like little circles, like just, trying to get my mind right for the next lift. And, ended up hitting the second attempt, which was also very ugly. I think I stepped forward a couple steps, just everything was off. But that one felt light. So it was forward, but it was light. So I was like, all right, like I'm not, I'm strong enough to do this. I just need to get my technique back to where it needs to be. So it goes through, the whole list of people again. And I chalk up and like shut my mind off. Like I know I can snatch this, so I just like put my hands on the bar and ripped it. Like didn't think about technique or anything. Just I trusted my body to do what it needed to do. And that was the best snatch of all of my attempts by far. So
yeah.
I had to shut my mind off for that one.
So did you look at Drew or like or Sherb or anything? Just say like go up or like what was the conversation? Did you guys have a conversation at all?
No, actually I tried. So after I hit 275, it was going back to the guys at the end of the line, and I'm looking up at Drew trying to get something from him, and he's not looking at me. He's looking at the people snatching. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do. like keep looking up, trying to get eye contact. Caroline wouldn't even watch because she was so nervous.
Yeah.
So no one was watching me. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to put, I don't know, 10 pounds on the bar. And I put 285 on the bar and step back, get off my platform. And like, they're looking at me and didn't like nothing. So I was like, all right, I guess it's a good choice.
Yeah. Did you think like after doing that lift, maybe you should have gone up a little higher, or what was your?
Yeah. Well, so the battle in my mind was, should I go 285 or 290? The way that 275 felt, I'm pretty sure I could have hit 290. And then obviously in hindsight, the way 285 felt, I definitely could have hit a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But 275 these days is not that impressive for a competitive athlete. So I knew I needed to hit more. And if I only hit 275, I think I would have had a big hole to dig myself out of. So I went with a safer call and went with 285, and I'm happy I did that. Yeah. You know, I think I could have hit more, but you never know.
Yeah. You should have hit 340.
Yeah. 341.
Oh, 341. Yeah. That was insane. I saw that. I was like, this dude really lifted. I'm like, oh my God, he got it. Which is crazy.
I know. We were in the corrals while he was doing that, and he power snatched like 315, and we could only hear them talking about it. So like, they're like, oh, he power snatched 315, and then like the head judge comes by and he's like, you guys are lifting for second place at this point. And we're all like, you're right. Yeah. And then he hit 340 and we're like, this is just insane.
Yeah. So do you think, like, obviously watching other, competitions, do you think 300's the new 275 for like the elite CrossFit athletes, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's on everyone's goal list. If they haven't snatched 300 yet, that's what you see on their whiteboards, so, the level that people are lifting at now is just, it's hard to keep. But I think that, I've been able to do a pretty good job keeping up with my strength. I'm certainly not the strongest guy out there, but, I'm getting close to that 300. I think I'll have it in the next year and a half.
I give it 6 months. 6 months.
We'll see. We'll see. I have a lot of recovering to do after my season's over. So
yeah. So obviously you saw Caroline like win, like, get to do the last event and make it to the CrossFit Games. Obviously you guys have been together for a long time. Like, what were your emotions going through that she made it to the CrossFit Games?
Yeah. Did she tell you this story on her podcast?
She might have. I know you were crying. I think you were crying a little bit. That's what I heard.
There was a lot of tears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was doing her last event, and the men's heat was right after that one. So I'm in the corral and I can't really see what's going on. It's like pretty far away. Mm-hmm. I could see her, but I couldn't tell who was who. So I didn't know if she was in a good spot or not. And so we're in the crowd, they finish the event, and they start announcing who qualified. And I was like, oh, we're going to find this out now, right before I have to go out and like do my event. And so they're announcing, and they announced that she qualified. And like Roy looks at me and like smiles, and then like a few other guys like knew that she was my fiance, and like instantly just burst into tears. So it was like uncontrollable.
Yeah.
And so as soon as that happens, the head judge is like, all right, let's go, guys. Like, our turn. Like, so we line up, we run out to the field, and I'm just in tears running out to the field, like trying to hold it together, but can't. And I like hand like this piece of paper to my judge in tears. And she's probably like, what is wrong with this kid? Like, why is he crying right now? And yeah, so I was just like, I was so happy for her. I didn't even care what I was about to do. Like, totally forgot about my own workout. Didn't care if I was going to qualify for the games or last chance or not qualify. Like she did it. Like, finally, like one of us did it. So, yeah, it was an amazing moment. Like I wasn't like bummed about myself at all. I was just so happy for her. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the workout started, so I had to get my shit together and get going. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it was an amazing moment for sure.
Yeah, very cool. So you made it to the last chance qualifier. So, are you in? Is this is going to be all online too? So, do you like online events or more like in-person stuff?
I'm definitely a more in-person type of athlete. I thrive a little bit on being able to just compete with people. It's what I did my whole life, like on all the teams and sports that I played. So having to do it online feels like a disadvantage to me, but it's just another challenge. So I'm just going to be able to go out there and do what I can at my own gym with, all the people that care about me and I care about get to watch. So that's really cool. I think the one benefit to doing it online is that in my mind, it doesn't matter who else is doing the competition because I won't see them. I will have nothing to do with what they're doing in their workouts and vice versa. So I'm just going to go out there and like do the best I can in these workouts and see where it puts me on the leaderboard. And if I get into a qualifying spot, awesome. If not, I mean, I'm already prepared to put another year of work in to get there next year. So
very cool.
We'll see.
Did you get any news about like any workouts or any information on like what to expect for the last chance?
Yeah, we just got an email about it today, and up until today, all we heard was that the qualifier was going to take place on the 2nd to the 4th of July, and that registration was on Monday, the 28th, which is today. So we were like, we had no idea what was going on, and we hadn't heard anything leading up to today, not even a link to register. So we finally got an email. We registered. They released all the workouts in the email. So there's 4 workouts, which is nice because they probably realize how beat up we all are. So 4 workouts, and now I know. And I'm actually like way more excited than I was because they're like good for me in that like my body will respond well to them. I have, like we all do, a couple tweaks here and there. So the workouts look good for that. So now I can like, ease my mind a little bit and just go and attack these workouts.
Very cool. So do they have to be in order or you could just do like, let's say you could do number 1 and then number 4 right after, or like what are you planning to do?
So for the semifinals that they did, they released passwords where you have to, say the password right after you finish the workout so they know you did it within the so we have to do events 1 and 2 between Thursday 3 to Friday at 3.
Okay.
No, sorry, Friday at 3 to Saturday at 3. So and they'll send an email with the password for those workouts, and we can do either 2 first and then 1 or 1 2. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But we can't do 3 until we get the password. So yeah, can't game it too much there.
Yeah, I mean,
but really at least it's only 4 workouts.
Yeah,
so it's not
you can't really game on 4 workouts. Yeah. So, all right, very cool. So, what are your expectations? I know you said some.
No, I mean, and honestly, like all the guys.
Go ahead.
Sorry, the internet's kind of freaking out a little bit.
No, you're good.
Okay, can you ask that again?
Yeah. So, obviously, like you have the 4 workouts. Are any of them in your wheelhouse that you kind of know you're gonna like kill it, or have you guys talked about this scenarios that you're gonna do throughout the workouts?
I'll probably have that conversation with Drew in the next couple of days in terms of like how to attack the workouts. I would say that 3 out of 4 of them are really good for me. 2 of them are really like sprinty type workouts, which is kind of my jam. And one of them is movements that I'm pretty good at on their own. It's double unders, squat cleans, like ascending weighted squat cleans and Lego rope climb. So there's no like weaknesses that they threw in there, except for there's a 3-rep max deadlift. So that's another one of those workouts where like deadlifting has also been a very big weakness of mine. That's what put me out of regionals in 2018 was an injury because of the deadlift. So I've been working on it a lot since then. And this will be a perfect opportunity to test it. I haven't really tested my top end strength with the deadlift in years. I've just been trying to get better at the skill of it. And not be incredibly sore after I deadlift. And I figured all that out. Like my deadlift feels amazing. So I'm excited to see how it stacks up on a leaderboard.
Very cool.
Even if it's my, worst workout of the weekend, I think that's my favorite test.
Yeah. So what are you looking to hit?
Man, I don't know. My conservative self is saying like 455 or 465. My 1 rep max, like all time, is 500.
Jesus.
But that was a long time ago when before I had like back injuries. So, I think I can actually get close to that with the right, atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this will push me. So shooting in between that, I think 485 is something that I can hit.
Yeah.
And for me, like if I can pull the first one, I can get the second two.
Yeah. You might need to snort some beta alanine before you actually do that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll get the tingles for that one.
Awesome. Very cool. So, obviously, like, you're part of the whole Misfit crew, and you have, like, you're part of Sharpen the Axe too. And I know you got a tattoo of the, the 2 axes. So what does that mean to you?
So the Sharpen the Axe kind of motto is the whole idea of just like being prepared for whatever, for whatever life might throw at you. So in I think it was 2016 or 2017, can't remember which one it was. Caroline and I decided to get that tattoo after regionals, just because like we believed wholeheartedly in like the process of getting to where we want to be. So, and we were going to do whatever we needed to get there. So for CrossFit and for competing in CrossFit, we were going to train and we were going to eat and we were going to sleep and we were going to do whatever we needed to do to get and to reach our goals. So the Sharpen the Axe kind of motto just fit that so well that it was like, no question. It's like, let's get this freaking tattoo. It's like, it's perfect. So we both went in and got that done, and no regrets there.
So do you have any other tattoos at all?
That's it.
Wow.
That was my first one.
Are you looking to get any other ones anytime soon?
I would love to. The problem is I can never decide on any one design. And so I probably will down the road. I like the idea of tattoos as an art, like on your body.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't necessarily need to be like this like super meaningful message or anything. But I want a really like artistic piece to put on my body. And once I figure out what that is, I'll get it. But
well, I mean, if you're ever in Atlanta, there's this tattoo parlor that's called Thunderbolt Tattoos. Like there's one artist there. It does the most amazing work I've ever seen from anybody. And he's like, and it's like probably like 30 minutes down the road. I don't have any tattoos, so, but like I was contemplating on having my kids like face. I have 2 kids, so their faces on me.
Yeah.
And he does like his portrait tattoos are like above and beyond like the best I've seen. So
yeah, that's good to know, because honestly, like trusting a tattoo artist is like a whole different game.
Yeah.
But luckily, like the Misfit crew is well endowed in their own tattoos, so they'll have some advice on where to go as well.
Yeah, I've seen some horrible tattoos. There's I think it was a TikTok video. This guy had a picture of Angelina Jolie as Tomb Raider, and like as like the full picture. Then he pulls it down, and it's just like looks like a stick figure of like Angelina Jolie. It looks like so bad, and it's a tattoo, and I'm like,
that's so rough. That is like my worst nightmare. Like that happens a lot. People just, they go in and they just like pick a tattoo and get it from the closest tattoo parlor. And man, so do your research.
Yeah, I was prior military, so there was always a tattoo like parlor like literally right next door to the base. So it was like, everyone get tattoos, and I'm like, God, like you don't even know this dude. Like you don't even know his artwork. It's like, they post it on the wall, but it's like, did he really do that? Yeah.
Was it just a picture he took online? Like,
but, very cool. So obviously with Sharpen the Axe, like you must have like so much gear from them. So you probably wear like, a whole outfit like every day of the week if you really needed to.
Yeah, pretty much like 99% of my wardrobe is Sharpen the Axe gear. We get new like shirts and shorts and stuff like once a month. So I'm constantly just recycling clothes. Like I have like a rule, like in my dresser, I can only have shirts in one drawer.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that drawer gets full, I have to get rid of stuff. So I'm constantly just going to Goodwill and like bringing clothes there, or trying to give them to friends that need workout clothes and stuff like that. Like we get a lot, so I try to give a lot, and keeps it all going around.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So, do you? I asked this with Caroline too. Do you have any say on like the gear, or, like the style of clothing at all with the guys at all, or you just like they just give it to you and that's it?
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to give them like ideas of stuff that I would want, and sometimes it takes, sometimes it doesn't. For me, like I'm not really picky with like a lot of stuff. So, and I'm also not very artistic either. And Drew and Ted and all of them they're pretty artistic and creative. So I just let them do their thing, and usually it turns out pretty good. So I'm happy to wear it all.
Very cool. So so we're getting close to the end. So I have a couple quick questions. So what are your goals for the rest of the year?
So obviously short term, I have the qualifier coming up.
Yep.
I'd love to qualify for the games for the first time. And if I do, great. If not, like it's not going to slow me down at all. So my drive to keep competing is as big as ever. So I'm going to keep trying to figure out the best way for me to train and reach my goals. When I started CrossFit, I had goals to reach along the way. So, when I started, I wanted to be like top 100 in my region in the open. And then like I wanted to qualify for regionals, and after regionals was the games. And since regionals, there's been a big gap there trying to make it to the games. So that's the final thing. And honestly, like, so I'm 28 now. Next season, I'll be 29. Not saying that I'm like getting old by any means, but there is obviously a window for athletes to kind of like make their mark before you start going downhill. So at this point, like I just want to qualify one time. And once I do that, I'll be happy with everything I've done in the past like 8 or 9 years. It'll all have been well worth it.
Yep.
If I can just get this one goal. So I don't care if I go to the games and get last place. I really hope that doesn't happen, but like I just want to qualify once. I've worked so hard to do it. So that's the big goal for the next few years.
Yeah. So let's just say you stopped everything, like stopped doing CrossFit, or pretty much stopped getting out of CrossFit. So what do you want to have people know you as in the CrossFit space?
Man, that's a tough one. I think I've always been like the type of person that's just gonna like put everything I have, like I'll sell my soul like for a workout, and you like people like to say like they see it on my face, like when I'm doing a workout, like it doesn't look pretty.
Yeah.
So I may not make it look easy, and I may not make it look fun, but I think once I'm out of the sport, people will know that like when I was out on the floor, like I gave it everything I had, no matter what, no matter like if the weather was like dreadfully hot, or if it was super late, or if we're just given like weird circumstances or whatever, like, or if it's workouts that just don't work well for me, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give it everything I have. I think I showed that in 2018. I did the first workout, which was the 333. Didn't do so hot in that one. Got hurt in the next event with Linda. And then I was hurt and I knew it, and it was bad. But the next event looked like something that I could probably get through. So I wasn't about to call it quits yet, even though I knew that I wouldn't be able to finish the weekend. I was going to give it everything I had until I was forced to stop. So that's kind of, I think that's what I would want to be known for, is just I always give it 100%.
All right, cool. So do you have a favorite book you like to read?
Yeah, actually, I've been reading more these days. I was never a reader growing up.
Me neither.
Yeah. So one book I read recently was called, oh, wow, now I'm blanking on it. It was a running book, Born to Run. It was called Born to Run. And it was an amazing book. It was just basically about this guy who, he was an avid runner. Like, he loved the sport of running, but every time he would try to train for a marathon or whatever, he would get injured. And so he was trying to figure out why. Like, all the doctors would tell him it's just the way he's built. He's too big, he's too tall, or whatever. So he can't run marathons, and he didn't believe that. So he would do all this research, and he ended up going to Mexico, where these amazing runners are from, and they run like either barefoot or in sandals and just like crush it, like just absolutely amazing runners. And he basically took like world-renowned like ultramarathon runners to come race against these guys and just see how they all compared. And it was just such a cool story, but also very like educational on like how to be a better runner and how to enjoy running. A lot of people just hate running, but it was a really cool book. Just I would highly recommend it to anyone that is even slightly interested in that kind of story.
All right, very cool. And then he was the one that made the barefoot shoes, right?
He didn't make them. No, he didn't make them. But I think the guy who did, or was at least part of that Vibram company, was in that book. So he invited him to this race because he actually ran the race in those shoes.
Interesting. Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what would you tell somebody that's new to CrossFit, like what to expect, like if you want to make it to the games or regionals or sanctionals?
It's a long road. I mean, you see these athletes that pop onto the scene and they qualify for the games really young. You know, like Medeiros, for example, I think he's only like 21.
Yeah.
But he's been doing CrossFit since he was like a teenager or younger than that. Like, he's been doing it for a long time. So people start CrossFit and they want to be competitive and they think they can just do it next year, you know? So I think it's being able to, like, whatever you decide to do, stick with it, trust the process, and, you know, just be prepared to work hard for a long time. And if you really want it, like, you'll get there.
All right. Very cool. So, where could people reach out to you if they have any questions or, you know, want to pretty much ask you anything? So where can people find you?
So Instagram's really the only place. Probably is Instagram24 is my tag thing. So feel like I'm not super popular, so I usually have the time to respond to people's messages. So that's always a good place. I am on Facebook if anyone wants to go on there. I probably won't see those messages because I never go on it, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you don't have a TikTok at all?
I don't TikTok, no.
God, thank God you don't, because
no.
My wife does it.
Honestly, if I had my way, I wouldn't be on any social media. But in this sport, you kind of have to be. So for now, I am.
Yeah. So before we end, so I know you have a promo code for Sharpen the Axe to kind of help you, pay for your traveling or whatnot. So what's the coupon code for Sharpen the Axe?
So for Sharpen the Axe, it's just code Austin. Always nice when people use my code over Caroline's code because she crushes it. Yeah, code Carol. Yeah. But no, yeah, code Austin. Saves you 10% on your order, and I get that 10%, and that helps me go to the events that I compete at. So it's always very appreciated when people donate.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Which is also what I plan to do with your shirt.
Yeah,
I get one of those.
It. Yeah, thanks.
Hell yeah.
But thank you for doing this. I know you try to go to bed early and stuff like that, like you said earlier. But
yeah,
thank you for taking the time. I really do appreciate it, and I would love to have you back on like later on in the year if that's cool.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you reaching out, and I'm glad I got to know you. I can't believe I didn't know that you were part of the Misfit community for so long.
Oh, I've been drinking the juice for a while. I swear, all the people I interview on my podcast are it has to be 90% of Misfit Athletics or former Misfit Athletics. like
Yeah.
athletes, but like it's, you know, I like the programming. It's hard, you know.
Mhm.
The bitch work is, you know, bitch work, which you need to do. So
Puts you in your place. Yep.
yep. And so like,
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
I train in a global gym, so I really don't have like the rings or ropes or anything like that. But I have other things, so I just, you know, do the workout and suffer, and everyone looks at me like I'm insane. So which is awesome.
Oh, that's great.
All right. Well, thank you very much for doing this, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. Awesome, man. Thank you.